Coach, Michigan, Auburn, Arizona, three really good teams to start off the year. What's it like going into the season taking on teams of that caliber so early on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a baseball game, and I don't know if we put too much thought into who's on the other side other than going out and playing the game the right way. And I got all the respect in the world for all three of those programs. You know, really good coaches, really good players, really good venue. Our guys are really excited about the weekend.
Going back to your guys, where do you feel they are right now going into these couple games?
I would tell you, I think we're as prepared as we've been in a while. I mean, school started a week earlier. It's allowed us to practice for pretty much 5 weeks going into the season. And I've been able to get guys on the mound every week, compared to sometimes you don't get to do that. And guys have seen plenty of pitches. The one downfall of that's probably, you know, guys get dinged up because you have been playing. But, you know, guys, again, they'll be ready to go on Friday.
That extra week of practice, I guess. Is there anything that you've been working on that typically wouldn't usually be able to work on so early in the year?
No, baseball is very repetitive. And so you're always trying to learn the strike zone, trying to hit the ball in the barrel, trying to pick it up, throw it, trying to execute pitches. And so, you know, you do those things well, and you run the bases well, you got a chance to win some games.
Have you seen Birdsell just kind of come back and just rehab and with his everything going on with him so far?
He's been, again, I was telling Don this a minute ago, so you ever been to spring training and you see a guy with that kind of arm, it's not going to be great every time. It hasn't been bad, not once. But again, he's going through some things. You know, he's been a guy that's obviously trying to get a feel for the ball and the slope, and it seems like he's in a really good spot right now.
I know everyone's going to ask about Jace, but has there been any guys that either, I know the word surprise isn't probably the best word, but just that have kind of met expectations for you so far? Some of the new faces that you brought in or just some freshmen for you?
Yeah, and so hard to pick one or two guys out. But just kind of going around the field, I think Hudson White's got a chance to play every day behind the plate. I think a young man out of Katy, Texas, Ryan Brome's got a chance to get in the lineup every day. And this is as it sits right now. What we hope is somebody that I don't mention ends up hitting right in the middle of the order, you know, helping you a lot on the mound. Owen Washburn has been really good. He's been an outfielder. Seems like to me those three guys, you kind of know what you're getting with them day in, day out. And then on the mound, obviously, we're really excited about that whole group of freshmen. So,
do you anticipate Owen Washburn possibly pitching any this year, or is he going to be more in the field?
we haven't thrown him much. So we threw him a little bit at the end of the fall. I think if this team had a need for pitching, right-handed pitching, we would have to do that based on, you know, where he is and his experience pitching. He's got a really good feel for pitching, but he likes hitting too, and so it's really hard to do both. Really kind of focusing more on the offensive side.
Having a guy like Jace who's such a sure thing, how nice is it to have that known quantity you can plug into the middle of the order every day?
Very nice. It's better than not having it, for sure. I mean, we're going to miss Braxton Fulford and Cal Connolly and Drew Baker. Those guys were really good for us, put up some really good at-bats, really good competitors, really good leaders. You know, obviously hit some key spots in the order, and Jace was a big part of that. Jace will be the first to tell you, and what he accomplished last year doesn't happen without the guys around him. Those guys are a big part of that. And you can even mention Dylan Noisy, you know, at the start of the year. And so there were some pieces there, but to kind of know you got a real guy sitting there in the 3 or 4 holes, obviously really, it's nice.
And then you mentioned Braxton Fulford's hitting, but in terms of behind the plate, you know, how tough is it going to be to replace what he does for the pitchers as an experienced catcher?
Yeah, so we've had 3 guys that have caught the ball really well. I don't know that we'll ever see a guy that throws like Braxton again come through here. I mean, he could just really throw, and he got to where he could really receive. And so again, it's going to be tough. And putting a freshman back there is going to be tougher. At the same time, we've always believed that, okay, there's really no age on being a baseball player. You either are one or you're not. And you don't have to be a year older to be one. And Hudson White's been a really good player his whole life. And I mean, if you're going picking teams out here and you got a bunch of guys in the state of Texas, most of us are picking him to play on our team. And so, really excited about watching.
Coach, looking ahead to conference play, 4 Big 12 teams listed in the D1 Baseball Top 25. What's your impression of the conference this year, and how do you prepare for programs like that?
Pretty early to be talking about conference, but our conference is as good as there is, top to bottom. To me, it's the premier baseball program in the country or the league, and a lot of people would argue that. I think the pitching top to bottom in our league is as good as there is. All you can do is go out and try to get a little bit better each day. Try to get as good as you can. Try to put yourself in a position to play at the highest level you can each day. Obviously, there's things we have to teach guys and give guys a structure to be able to do that. Sometimes that's just rest. Sometimes it's nutrition. Sometimes it's strength training. Sometimes it's agility, sometimes it's mobility. And so there's a lot of things that go into that equation. But looking down the road, again, you want to play the highest level of baseball you can each day. And once you get in the league, hopefully you've been doing that. But you got to embrace that competition that we face, just like this weekend. Man, I've been a part of a lot of college baseball games at all different levels, and I can't remember there ever being one that wasn't 0-0 at the start of the game, and you didn't have to play good fundamental baseball. I mean, there wasn't ever one where you go, hey, this team gets a 5-run lead. And so baseball is unique that the guy on the mound can really dictate how the game's going to go. And then obviously the guys behind him, I've always believed that momentum in a baseball game's changing with the weather, and I don't think that's changing either.
With Owen Washburn, do you notice anything different about him since he grew up as son of a major league?
So I don't know how much Owen was actually around a big league ballpark. You'd have to ask him that. He does carry himself with some confidence. He does have a very good mentor in his dad. And so I would say absolutely he could carry himself a little different. But I don't know if it's the result of being around the ballpark or being raised by his parents. And so it may be a combination of the two. But the one thing I do know is you know what you're getting every day, which is nice.
Coach, what is the story of this team as you see it right now? Is it a story where you have plenty of veteran players you can depend on? Is it a story of you're going to be looking forward to plenty of results from during your freshman? What is the story as the season begins today?
Yeah, that's really interesting thought because you can look at it and go, God, this team's really got some guys that have been around. And you could also play some guys that hadn't been around. And so the story will be how they play together, the way they go about playing the game, where they create the energy that you need to get through 9 innings and how you go about doing that. And obviously, we feel like we've got a chance to really pitch. We've got a chance to be really offensive. And, defensively, it's got a chance to be as good a team as we've had. So, again, like I think right now, there's an opportunity for everybody within our roster to impact the spring at some point. And with injuries or with the COVID stuff that's still, we still got to test for it once a week. And so having guys understanding that there's always going to be an opportunity in front of them, something I think that's always important.
How important is it going to be now that you're going to have, sold out season tickets and being able to have you know, your fan base be able to, the full fan base come back to see Red Raider baseball?
Yeah, and so obviously we've seen through basketball seasons. I mean, if we don't have the best fan base in the country, I'd like for somebody to show us who does. And we absolutely welcome all that support over here at Rick Griffin Park. And we love to see them. And our guys love playing in front of them. And I mean, obviously, even just last year, we just played a lot of, we didn't play as many midweeks, didn't play as many games, and played more day games than we probably have. And so we're excited about playing in front of our, you know, in front of our fans. And we've always wanted to, along the journey and along the spring as you go, be able to share, you know, our team and our program with our fans. Looking forward to it.
What's the progress like on their facility?
Yeah, and so you can see it down there. They took away our parking lot. And so they're down there a little bit each day. We're a little worried about them driving around on tractors when the wind's blowing that way. I think a guy got one yesterday somewhere around the chest area. Not good. Probably need to get a net like the guy at the driving range has on the side of the tractor. Our guys, the difference is at the driving range, people are trying to hit the guy. We're not trying to hit him, I can assure you. So, the facility that you're talking about will be finished at the end of the spring of '23. We'll start the renovation of the current building, be all done by the end of '23. So they're moving, it's moving.
What's your, how much fun is it for you to see, another phase in the development of the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's important. I mean, the guys, everybody's come through the program, deserves everything they're getting. We're very appreciative of the support we get. Kirby and Dr. Skubanek do a great job of, you know, allowing us, you know, giving us the support to have success, and that shows in that facility.
Any final questions
You
before we
said,
wrap up?
you said a moment ago that you have a chance to be as good defensively as you have been. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah.
You feel like what oppositions you feel like you're close at?
Well, I think it starts on the mound. And if they're not just hitting rockets at you, you got a chance to defend a little better if they're hitting rockets at you. And yeah, I think we're going to be able to really pitch. We like what we got behind the plate. Again, I mentioned to you earlier, Kurt Wilson's always read the ball off the bat as good as anybody in the country. First step's really good, really rangy. Should be a guy that takes some hits off the board. Dylan Carter's always done that. Our corner outfield spots, those guys could play center. Jace, you know, turns a double play as good as anybody out there ever coached. Stillwell's evolved into a really good first baseman. He's been behind the plate some. Been very good back there. And so we've got some options, and obviously we've all seen, you know, at Parker defend at third. Easton seems like to me he's settling in over there, playing really good. Again, part of that's pitching ahead in the count.